the tip of his head, that's all you can see, peeping out. My snowman, look.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to pick some bracken to put in the guest rooms. Now I can't. Do you think we will get snowed right up?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, it would be good fun. Except Julie wouldn't be able to come over. But I haven't got Blackie either. Only a barbarian would poison a dog. That's what Daddy said. Isn't it exciting, Peters?
Would you please sign the book?
Oh, we're not together. Shall I sign first?
Yes.
We were on the same train, and there was just the one taxi. Oh, what a lovely old house. So well preserved.
Now you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you each had a tolerable journey.
Hardly the weather for travelling, is it?
Yes, our train got so late they had to dig it out.
Not exactly dig it out, but there were some delays.
As you can see, you are the very first guests of the Lynch Cross Moorland Hotel.
It was so lucky winning this weekend holiday, right out of the blue like that.
Some sort of publicity thing, is it?
Yes, that's right, Mr. Smith. We've got a London photographer coming down to portray our first guests in situ.
So we're model guests.
Peters? Miss Turner will be in Haworth's room, and Mr. Smith in Bramwell. Bar hospitality is free this weekend. I do hope you'll be comfortable and enjoy your stay.
Thank you. Oh, can you manage?
Joanna.
Thank you so much.
Joanna, be a good girl. Don't hang about. Do you love that pipe? The snow is getting deeper and deeper. I can't see you digging out the driveway.
Oh, not in all that deep. Don't make such a fuss about it.
They told me at the post office this house is often marooned in the snow.
Well, the house was your choice, Vivian.
For lack of any decisive help from you. What happened to the man I married?
Oh, don't start. This isn't the time to start.
I have to do everything. Oh, that's it. Go and drown your sorrows. I mean, the one thing I asked you to do. Do you realize that man's coat was frayed at the cuffs? Mr. Smith. Whoever is he? Miss Turner. Oh, where did you find them, Harry?
What do you mean, I? Do you think I personally chose...
In the midst of the blizzard, we arrive. Mrs. Scott Forbes?
Yes, indeed. And you must be Dr. and Mrs. Warwick. Welcome. I do hope your journey wasn't too arduous.
Oh, quite an adventure. The roads are more suited to cross-country skiing.
We're here, safe and sound.
Would you like to sign the book? I put you in the Rochester room. It's one of our very best rooms. And you can leave your luggage. My husband will be... Peters. This is one of our very best rooms. It does, of course, have its own private bathroom.
Oh, it's charming.
Drinks are being served in the bar. Dinner will be at 7:30. I do hope you enjoy your stay.
Oh, darling. It's a bit fogyish.
Oh, I don't mind. Isn't this beautiful?
It's a little out of the ordinary. Still, there'll be lots of people for me to show you off to.
Oh, darling possums. We could go on having more and more honeymoons forever and ever.
Well, where's Peter's gone to? We need some more ice at the bar.
Plenty of ice out there, sir.
What is this?
Just slipped through my hands, sir.
Just slipped. I'm surprised you haven't demolished the entire kitchen by now, such careless behaviour. Trying to hide the pieces, were you? Have you any idea what this cost? Well, I shall stop it out of your wages.
You wouldn't do that again.
Oh, wouldn't I? The short time you worked for me.
For you? That's rich. As if I'd work for a bloody
A
scheme.
foul-mouthed slut, that's what you are, Dawes. I can't imagine what my wife is thinking of.
Mrs Scott Forbes recognises a good coot when she finds one.
Yes. Well, even if it is the opening weekend...
I'm not
I've a
staying here. Worse than dogs you treat us. I shall leave here, I shall. And before I do, there are one or two things...
Harry. Was there something you wanted?
Ice. She's just broken your best serving dish.
Well, you know where the freezer is. So, look at my best dish. However, I don't think it's very likely that you will be leaving us.
What a delightful room.
Quality hospitality is what we're offering, Miss Turner.
This is the house, isn't it?
Yes, that's quite right, Mr. Smith. Lynch Cross House in 1842. It was part of the old jail at that time.
How extraordinary.
Yes, the house has a very curious history.
Here we are. This is the right room.
I'm Dr. Warreck, and this is my wife.
Very pleased to meet you, Doctor. Mrs Warwick, I'm Harry Scott Forbes. This is Miss Turner and Mr. Smith.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you.
Good Lord.
Whatever is it?
Somebody escaped from the local lockup. Sounds jolly close.
Look, there's a map here. Lynch Cross Women's Prison. It's only half a mile across the moors.
Well, you see, it's just a woman escaped.
Those women are unnatural members of the gentle sex.
Mrs Warwick, Doctor, a drink?
A whiskey soda for me, Steffi.
Dry martini, please.
Must be worse than Alcatraz in this snow. They won't get far.
Miss Turner, will you?
I still have plenty, thanks.
Mr Smith?
No, I'm all right, thank you.
What a time to make a run for it.
It's a terrible sound. Oh, hello there. What's your name?
Joanne, have you finished with your glass?
Oh, well, not quite. Helping Daddy, are you?
Yes. Mrs Dawes said, are there any more glasses to go back to the kitchen? And dinner's ready at last.
Doctor.
Thank you.
Godforsaken corner of the earth.
Can I help you, please?
I doubt it. Where are the grown-ups? Well, where is everybody? My feet are utterly freezing. I've been standing here receiving no attention. Well, don't just gawp, woman.
I'll tell Mrs Scott Forbes.
That awful noise. Can't it be turned off?
Mrs Barrington?
Hmm?
I'm Vivian Scott Forbes. Welcome. Oh, you must have had a terrible journey through the snow.
Yes.
We have our very best room prepared for you. It's the Heathcliff room. Would you like to sign the book?
Heathcliff room. How amusing. Very well. Where are the other guests?
They're in the dining room. We were just about... We will, of course, wait dinner.
I was not expecting, but never mind. I'm sure this will do quite well. That'll be all, Thompson. You can drive back to London. Well, don't dawdle, man. Get on.
But it's snowing.
Yes.
Madam?
An excellent dinner, if I may say so.
It was lovely.
Good country fare in keeping with the old house. Oh, did you know I had a priest's hole in my room?
How amazing.
We only bought the place last year. Before that, it had been empty for quite some time.
We've met before, haven't we?
Funny you should say that. I have some kind of deja vu going on, just over dinner.
Do you think we've been acquainted?
Well, I'm sure I'd remember that.
No, I'm afraid it's not possible, Mrs. Smith. We've only been in the country for a few months.
Had you always lived in New Zealand?
Yes, that's right, but...
That's so.
What do you do, Mr. Smith?
I'm a solicitor. Pretty well retired now.
You sound odd, but can anyone smell gas?
Gas?
I believe you're right. Yes. Yes, I can. It's definitely gas.
The fire, look, it's gone out.
Oh, fancy that.
That's the fire, all right. How do you turn the gas off?
Here, let me do it. Oh, look at that. Somebody's taken off the key.
It's funny, it seems to be stuck.
That door's always kept locked.
These shutters won't open. They're trapped.
Quick, blow out the candles. Put out your cigarettes.
Smash the door down.
We'll never get out, we'll never get out!
Somebody must hear us.
Open the door!
Help! Let us out! The gas is gasping! Open the door! Open this door! It's nothing! Help! Let us out! It's the gas from the fire. Somebody's taken off the key. Peters, go and turn off the gas.
Will you go through? How could the door have been locked?
And the fire breaking down at the same time.
A most regrettable coincidence, really most unfortunate.
And those window shutters wouldn't open.
Well, the renovations are very recent. It will all be looked into at the first possible moment.
I was frightened, I can tell you.
And what about the connecting door not working?
Oh, builder's instructions, I'm afraid, Mrs. Barrington. The lintel needed repairing.
That's too bad. Using an unsound building for a commercial enterprise. Some government department would be very interested.
I knew I shouldn't have come. I needed a holiday, but not here.
Oh, Peters, go and fetch some brandy and glasses, will you?
Well, Mr. Scott Forbes, that could have been a most unfortunate start to your venture.
I shall certainly leave in the morning.
Yes, I may be obliged to leave too.
Oh, all's well that ends well.
It's a warning. Do you believe in the spirit world, Mr. Smith?
No, Miss Turner. The world we live in is quite enough to contend with.
What is it? What's wrong?
I'm a trained nurse. Let me look. Get your husband, Mrs. Warwick.
What have you taken? What have you had recently?
How's your wife, Mr. Scott Forbes?
Oh, she's asleep now. Dr. Warreck thinks it's probably gastroenteritis.
Oh, someone must have pushed this note under the front door.
Oh, thank you. What on earth would have been passing by with a snowstorm under?
All right, Mr. Scott Forbes.
Yes, I was just worried about my wife, that's all.
Yes, of course.
Peters, I can see no reason why I shouldn't take you into my confidence. My wife is sick. This letter you found, this anonymous note, it's a very serious allegation, really most alarming. Tell me, could that be a picture of Mrs. Dawes some years ago?
But it's...
I mean, that creature, we may be harbouring her in the house.
The Friend murders. Savage killer Wilma Friend escaped today while in transit from Lynch Cross Women's...
Yes, but read what she did.
Convicted of brutally knifing 2 girl victims, friends who'd made the mistake of quarrelling with her. Leaving them in agony, she turned on the gas.
The fire. For my wife, the only food she ate was what Mrs. Dawes left out for her.
Well, that note, can I see? I've always wondered about her.
I tried to call the police, but the telephone's been cut off. It must be the snowstorm.
Yes. Oh, she mustn't know we've been alerted. Well, Mrs. Dawes is in bed. If you like, I could lock her in her room for the night. Well, it wouldn't be difficult, and she wouldn't know. Well, it would be safer.
Yes, do that, Peters. And I'll try and get hold of the police first thing in the morning. Let them sort it out. It may just be a poison pen, a false alarm. Yes, that would be the best.
I could swear I've seen him somewhere before.
Anyone in particular, darling?
That Smith fellow. But then he has a very ordinary face.
Hallucinations? It must be the water possums. Country not so well water. Isn't it lucky for Mrs. Scott Forbes she has a doctor in the house? And such a handsome medico, too.
A funny thing. I'm not entirely convinced she is ill. She has most of the symptoms.
But not all. How very scandalous. Must be your delightful bedroom manner.
Bedside, you mean?
I'm sure our charming Mrs. Barrington would also not mind the difference.
Your bath was all right.
I should have doubled up, darling.
Oh, God, what a bore. Better go and tell somebody.
Except they'll all have gone to bed. Poor Blossoms, into the countryside. Maybe to keep it running, it'll clear.
I found your watch in the kitchen. It might have got lost. Listen to the wind.
We'll be cut off by morning.
Will we? My nerves are bad tonight, Monica.
The way they treat us, it's not surprising. How I hate that man. The way he provokes me.
We're all on edge this weekend.
I had so many happy years. Now I'm a prisoner in this house. I'd give anything to be content again. Oh.
Shh. The house is sleeping.
I'll sleep like a log. Good night, Hester.
Good night.
Coffee, please.
Just look at that snow. I think I shall go home today.
Oh, what a shame, Mr. Smith. Oh, you are a busy girl. I teach children, you know. Handicapped children.
What sort of handicap?
All sorts. Going out in the snow today?
But we can't get out, none of us. Didn't you know it completely snowed up?
Oh, it is true. So far, no deliveries have got through this morning.
But that...
Are you sure?
But this is appalling.
I don't believe we can't get out. Order me a taxi immediately.
Yes, of course.
Where are our hosts this morning? I have a complaint to make.
Or perhaps Mrs. Scott Forbes is still unwell.
Has anyone seen her husband?
Just imagine. We could be stuck here for days.
Peters! Peters! Come here! Peters!
What is it, yelling like that?
There's going to be no lunch, that's what, with everyone coming down so late.
Well, I'm still serving breakfast.
They gun the marinade, and the pork won't defrost in time. You fetch that for a start.
All right, all right. And who's going to help me?
That Joanne, for one. Let her serve them.
My God.
I thought this noise screamed like a stuck pig.
I wouldn't look if I were. Call the police.
Phone is out of order.
Well, then there's no means of contacting anyone.
You'll have to move him. The lunch is underneath.
What?
If it's late, I'll get the blame.
Come on, everyone. We'll meet in the lounge. I've sedated them both. Mrs. Scott Forbes was very overwrought.
Is the child all right?
She's asleep now. Who could have done it? We're completely sealed off.
Whoever would want to kill Mr. Scott Forbes?
Shall we ever get out of this place?
I found this note by his hand. It's most peculiar. It says, I gave her the weapon, then I took her back to the house. I knew she was in a deranged state. Afterwards, I could not bring myself to confess.
Surely...
What does it mean?
Some sort of riddle.
What about his wife, I'd like to know? Like cat and dog they were.
Oh, surely not.
She was unwell.
There could have been something put in the dinner last night. Do you have any idea how that could have happened?
The food was left on a tray. I suppose someone could have got at it.
Then there was the gas fire.
But all of us were in there.
Except Mrs. Scott Forbes.
We are all in the gravest danger.
Who on earth would want to harm me?
We must go down to the village and get help.
That might be an idea. How far is it? About a mile?
A little further, maybe.
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
We'll have to trust each other.
Let's go down.
Darling, do be careful.
Now, everyone must stay together. No one must go anywhere on their own.
Danger or no danger, I'm not sticking around in here all day.
There really is something about that woman.
She doesn't seem to be frightened.
That didn't taste right. Not like... Was it pork?
Men have been gone for ages.
I'm sure they're lost. We shouldn't have let them go.
Here we are, without any protection. Oh, for goodness.
Maybe that might have been...
Poisoned, you mean? It's either one of them, one of us, or Mrs. Scott Forbes.
Light from the snow is so horrible. As if we're all on the slab, not just that poor man.
Somebody had a reason for killing Scott Forbes. There's no need for us to be afraid. I mean, why should we give in to hysteria?
Darling, you're safe.
Your chauffeur, I believe.
Is he all right? Oh, you could have killed the poor man. Did you get to the village?
No, we didn't.
No, the drifts are too deep. It was quite impossible.
You can put him in the room next to mine. It's already warm in there.
What are you doing out of bed, Mrs. Scott Forbes?
Yes, you've had a deep shock. Such dreadful news.
Yes, dreadful. But I still have a duty to you all. Trying to be a good girl. Show them where the Bronte room is.
A guest room.
Can I speak to you for a moment?
Yes?
It may be very important.
I was her. There's no use denying it. They said it'd always catch up with me.
So you're Wilma Friend, a cold-blooded killer.
You're a maniac. You murdered 3 people.
But why did you kill Scott Forbes?
I served my time. I've never done a soul any harm since then. I swear it.
She's lying.
Of course she did it.
Poor Harry. You killed him because of that quarrel, because he threatened to sack you. I found them in the kitchen yesterday. She was threatening him.
Did you kill him?
No. But who'll believe me?
That type never confesses.
That poor soul.
We're not safe with people like that at liberty.
Until we can get in touch with the police, she must be locked in her room. Dr. Warreck, Mr. Smith. Here, Peters will show you the way.
May you find mercy, Wilma Friend.
And may we find something decent to drink.
Oh, my dear.
Well, we're be safe now?
I'm not so sure.
What do you mean? She won't get out of there. Rather a misfortune, really, having to lock up the cook for murder. And it's only Saturday.
Especially when we don't know what we're going to have for dinner.
If only we'd known, poor Mr. Scott Forbes might still be alive.
Oh, there's been no electricity since mid-morning. The lines must be down. I'll get some candles.
Are you all right, Mr. Smith?
I wasn't going to say anything, but when I heard that confession read, I began to recognize...
Confession? Do you mean that note?
First I recognized Scott Forbes, but I didn't believe it for a while. Ronald Henry Forbes. Remember? Remember the trial of Marion Barclay? The same year as the Friend murders. 22 years ago, but I know you both remember. Mrs. Barrington, you were a witness for the prosecution. You were Sonny St. then, weren't you?
It's all rather slipped my mind. That unpleasantness. Were you involved, Mr. Smith?
The years have done their work. I was Marion Barclay's solicitor. She hanged herself, you know, after her conviction.
Oh, really? Remorse, I suppose.
I was a doctor. I had to give some minor evidence.
Not minor in its effect, as I remember. You're the only one I can't place.
I had nothing to do with the trial you're talking about.
What about Ronald Forbes?
Another witness for the prosecution. Her lover, Ronald Henry Forbes.
And the note he left, I gave her the weapon.
Then I took her back to the house. I knew she was in a deranged state. Afterwards, I couldn't bring myself to confess.
So he put her up to it?
Yes. Yes. He was indeed her accomplice. But he kept quiet. Even gave evidence for the prosecution. And now he's dead.
You say after her conviction, Marion Barclay committed suicide.
Yes. She hadn't wanted to get off the charge of murder. I was inexperienced. I failed to persuade her that she was simply shielding Forbes from justice.
Marion Barclay killed her husband.
After he had cruelly beaten up their daughters.
Shot him dead in his own front garden. She was locked up for it and then took her own life. That's justice.
But how horrible. You never told me.
Past history, my dear.
Is that all it means to you? My life has been dogged by the memory. Never a day has passed, but I've wondered how, why. And you know the correct medical evidence could have saved Marion Barclay.
You'd better be damn careful what you say, Smith. I'll be done in half an hour.
How could Dr. Warreck have saved this Marion Barclay?
Before Forbes inveigled her into killing her husband, she'd had a nervous breakdown. She was depressed, taking powerful drugs for her condition. Warreck knew all these facts, but he omitted some of them in giving his evidence. Perhaps he was in a hurry to get home. Or perhaps he'd prescribed the wrong dosage.
David would never do a thing like that.
My dear Mrs. Warwick, when your husband testified, I imagine you were scarcely out of nappies.
was in a cell not half a mile away from here that Marion Barclay hanged herself. Yes, I have misled you. The thought of her has never left my mind in all these years. I was an officer in the prison when Marion Barclay was brought in. She was in my care. And one day, I found her hanging in her cell.
I'm sure you weren't to blame.
It was terrible. You see, none of us knew that she wanted to take her life.
At least the woman had a sense of justice.
You totally without feeling.
She wounded me on the forehead with her murderous shooting. She could have killed me. I was just passing by the street. As it is, I will always have the scar. Look.
Yes, and it was your evidence, just like that sealed her fate. You swayed the jury.
And a good thing, too. What would the world be like if we didn't bring people like that to justice? How long will this go on? Police inquiries and so on.
But who has brought us all together here? Why are we here?
What are you doing?
No, it's still dead, I'm afraid.
I don't think you quite
Please
understand.
come at once. The bathroom door's locked. David won't answer me.
Dr. Warreck? Dr. Warreck!
Is he there?
Don't come in. There's blood everywhere.
Oh.
She could be anywhere.
Quickly.
The lady can find something decent to drink. Oh, no. Ah. Good. It's only you. I thought Mr. Scott Forbes might have some little friend down here, but no such good fortune. I hope it's been moved.
Mr. Forbes's body is no longer in the freezer. I shall not trouble to hide yours.
I don't understand.
Forbes got me to do everything, do you see? Hire the cook, hire the builders, find his first guests for this complimentary weekend. He agreed with all my suggestions. It made his life easier. Forbes would commit murder for a quiet life.
I don't know what you mean.
All I had to do was to get Monica Dawes the cook's job, and then at the right moment let them know who she really was. The gas got you all nervous, and then I began.
You couldn't have done it. You are quite mad. Let me pass and
Warwick is dead!
The terror on his face before he died. I am without compassion, Sonia, isn't just. It's you who've taught me so well to have no compassion.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got a mother's way. Her bullet only injured you.
No.
A flesh wound. Mine will kill you.
Who are you? Tell me that.
You caused her death. Yet you can't even remember. She had 2 daughters. I was only 12 years old at the time. Not much younger than Joanne. Have you any idea at all what you did? To my mother, and to my sister, and to me. She was only defending us. Father had half killed us that day.
Dear young woman, I know idea.
We never had any normal life. Mother, family, friends. It was all in ruins, the daughters of a murderess.
You poor girl. Only a young child.
Did you ever pause to think about the real innocence? Mother was a sick, highly strung woman. She was goaded into manslaughter by Forbes. She was condemned by your testimony.
I didn't know what I was talking about. You must believe me.
No one's coming to save you. After I was left alone, after my sister's death, I trained as a nurse specializing in geriatrics. Every now and then one would die. No one has ever suspected me. They will never suspect me.
Let me go. I won't tell anybody. You'll be free.
Mother was not a murderer. She was inhumanly provoked. It's me, Hester Barclay, you've turned into the real killer. You, Forbes, Warreck, and the others.
I'll do anything. I have money.
This is for all our ruined lives.
Tell me about your sister.
This is for hers too. God will rest her.
Oh! No. Please, no.
She's been too quick.
Oh, come away, Mrs. Scott Forbes. Lean on me.
Won't break that down in a hurry.
There are no more candles. These are the last.
It should be quite safe if we stay together in here.
Oh, let me help you with the soup.
It's all right. You must all be so very hungry by now.
It smells very good.
I did my best.
Thank you.
I don't suppose you could have got at the soup.
Oh, no, I was there all the time looking after it.
That was awfully brave of you, Peters.
Do drink it while it's hot.
Oh, stupid of me. I'm so sorry, darling. It's all right. We're not very hungry.
Oh,
What is it?
I thought I... Did you hear anything?
No, there's nothing. There's no time. I came up the back way to say goodbye.
The police. I reconnected the phone. I told them I'd be in the lounge. They'd have to come in and get me.
Our work is done. Enough.
long to be back inside. Thank you for helping me, Hester. I couldn't have done any of it myself. Now I shall go back where I belong, at last.
And my mother can rest easy in her grave.
Yes. Poor dear Marion. You're much stronger than she ever was.
It's been so easy. It seems I have a special talent. The inspiration was breathed into me when I was 12.
Everything's worked out all right.
Now I shan't see you again. This was hers.
Thank you, Hester. I've waited so long for this special day. No more of that terrible so-called freedom.
You're so stupid, Thomas, and such a spoil-sport.
I'm bored of playing this game.
Don't! I don't know why on earth Mother keeps you on here. Thompson.
Poor Harry. He thought I never knew about his infidelity.
After 22 years?
Well, we were so newly married when it all took place. He was pretending to me he was just a friend of your mother. Funny.
But you knew. You knew all that he'd done. Why did it take you such a very long time before you traced me, bought the house?
It wasn't easy getting access to the records. And then there was the matter of Harry's inheritance. So the important thing is, we did it all, Hester. Poor old Harry. He always used to say it. There's more than one way of killing a cat. Oh, Thomas, what beautiful flowers.
They're for you.
Oh. Shall we put them upstairs?
I'll put them in vases.
Thomas is going to be such an asset to the new business. Of course, he has got a lot to learn. Yes, I think we're going to be very successful. We'll put the bedridden upstairs, and those with some mobility can be down here. You happy, Hester?
Oh, yes. I was very happy nursing the elderly. Oh, Mr. Frobisher with his kidney disorder. Dear Mrs. Amys with her grave heart condition. I shall never forget them. They were so grateful to me.
You deserve to use your special talents. Yes, I think we're going to be very popular. The moorland air is so healthy and so pure.